Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh. I thought we were getting an intro.
Well, not yet. You got to do the intro.
Why is it counting down?
No, because now we're.
Oh,
there we are.
Wow. We can talk through the intro.
Wowzers.
I didn't even know that. What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing? That was confusing for me, but here I am. I have a camera this week. We are going to talk some Broncos football, but first we're going to talk a little bit of Nikola Jokic and Euro basket. We're going to talk a little bit about college and some of the guys we've been keeping an eye on that could be future Broncos. And then we'll get into the Broncos matchup this upcoming week as well. So stay tuned and we will break it all down.
Yo, welcome to the show. Let me set the scene. Mile High Sports Symposium, living the dream. Broncos in the house with that orange and blue. Nuggets making moves, watch that altitude crew. Avalanche bringing ice, check the skills they display. Rocky swinging bats, ready for game day. Rapids in the mix, kicking it with style. Buffs bring the heat, put the rivals on trial. Out docking JJT, they got the scoop. Mile High vibes, feel that energy rise. Sports on the menu, watch the crowd mesmerize. From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire.
What is up, everyone? How are we doing today? It is Wednesday. I don't know what day it is. It's September something. 10th?
Yeah.
Sure. And we are here to talk all things Colorado Denver sports. Doc, how are you doing today?
Good. I feel like you a little bit. I'm like, what is it? What a day are we? Where did we go? Why are we there?
So together, you know.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, what's a day other than a social construct to help us understand time closer to our demise? But whatever.
Just the little things in life,
Just little things. Just the little things. It's hot outside today.
It is.
It snuck up on me. It's like a hot one, not like it's not warm. It's like hot.
Yeah, it's like kind of gross.
Yeah, like come on, man. We say this about Colorado all the time, though. We complain about the weather being one way or the other.
It's not winter till like end of October, really, technically. So anything could happen until then.
That's true. I mean, even then, right? It's like 2 years in a row on Halloween. It was like freezing, and then last year I think it was like warm, like unseasonably warm. So who knows? I'm not a meteorologist for sure, but I did stay at Holiday Inn Express last night.
So you play one on TV?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that how that works? Something like that.
Something like that. Who knows?
Something
Who knows? But you know what's super dope?
What's that?
Sports.
That's true. That is why we're here.
Like walking. We're getting. I mean, we're a month out from NBA tip off.
I know.
Like 6 weeks probably, but I mean preseason, and then the NBA they play their guys because they only have like 3 or 4 preseason games, and then puck drops. We'll get that Avs, and it'll be that phenomenal overlap where you get a little bit of all 4 sports,
all the good stuff.
Because there'll be Rapids, there'll be college football, NFL, hockey, college hockey. We got DU, Colorado College, both are stellar programs. I mean, if only we had a baseball team, we'd have it all here. But
that's the one. It's the missing thing. The one missing thing.
It is. It's the one. Not everyone can have it all.
We will see though. Like there is some potential for us to be saying like, oh man, I wish college football was good in Colorado again. That
we did say
still
that.
Remains to be seen for me.
We did say that. It is good. Up at UNC, those Bears playing above their heads. True. Had to get jobbed out of a win. UNC Bears. So
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But for reals though.
What division is that?
It's FCS.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
In the Big Sky.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're gonna get to it, Shai. Don't you fret. Don't you fret.
It's
on the agenda.
We will. First, we're going to start talking about a little bit. What's up, Dak? A little bit of Nikola Jokic, some Euro basketball. If for those who are not aware, Eurobasket has been going on, and Team Serbia has been ousted. They've been ousted from the tournament. Jokic is no longer playing in that tournament. Had some pretty stellar games, but ultimately, I feel like they were missing some ball handling when Bogdanovic went out, and not Bogdanovic. That was me stuttering. When Bogdanovic went down, it seemed like they were missing a little bit of pop. Jokic was kind of, I don't know what to think of it. I did watch some of the games. People are saying he looks out of shape. I tend to agree a little bit, but I don't know that it is going to be all that impactful once the NBA season rolls around. Any thoughts and feelings on any of that? I just think that, Jokic is Jokic, and with the depth that they have, he's probably not going to play as many minutes, and so maybe it doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah, well, all those things. I'm chubby Jokic, fit Jokic. He has never not been good at basketball, so I don't care as much. It is noticeable, though, the shape that he left last year in, or at least the visible shape.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at least from the brief stints I was able to watch some of the games, I mean, it didn't look like he was struggling to run. It didn't look like he was having issues getting up the court. It didn't look like he was tired at the end. It was a pretty big upset, watching him and his countrymen lose. But you know what? That's why
Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah. I mean,
who's been balling.
I mean, maybe that would have been a guy if they would have been like, hey, we're trading MPJ for
sure.
Markkanen. I would have been like, sweet. He is significantly overpaid, but to live in Utah.
I wrote for like 10 minutes for Nug Love, and I remember one of the things that I wrote was that the Nuggets should trade for more Lauri Markkanen. This is when he was with the Bulls, and I still feel that way. Just for the record.
Yeah, I mean, he's a smooth player, well, all around, quiet guy. It's a guy that you could pair up with Jokic. Hopefully, he seems egoless. Ish.
He's heard a lot. That's been his thing.
I mean,
not the last few years, but at the start of his career was rough.
That's good. Well, or they just suck a lot, and the Chicago era was not good, and maybe he was just like
load management.
Yep. Yeah, he was doing the load management before there was load management.
The 23-year-old load management,
I mean, if you talk to our kids, I mean, they need the 12-year-old load management,
All right. I don't know that there's a ton to talk about on the Eurobasket front. Disappointed to see Jokic get ousted. I'm kind of glad he's not going to be out there to get hurt. He made it out healthy. That's important to me. Been watching some YouTube videos with Luke, my second, about some of the guys that have been training over the summer. AG's been in the gym. Cam Johnson's been training with AG and Jamal a little bit. Looks like they've been out there getting work in. All the young guys are out there getting work in too. Julian looked really good from what I saw. Hunter Tyson was shooting the ball well. We'll see if that, matters. I don't know that it will matter when the season rolls around, if he'll even get much playing time. But always excited for football, basketball. We can transition into some college football. In the CU Buffs. CU got a win over the weekend against Delaware. A team that they should beat. Delaware fighting.
I mean, anytime they're able to beat Joe Flacco's alma mater, it makes me happy.
That's right. 31-7 win. They played three different quarterbacks in this game. It was a little bit of a head scratcher. Didn't run the ball. They ran the ball fine, but no standouts in the running back room. Sincere Brown, receiver, had a pretty good game. 4 receptions, 120 yards, touchdown. Good to see them get back on track with a win over a team that they should win, and a decisive win at that. But I'm a little bit confused as to what the plan is up in Boulder. Any insight from the doc?
Yeah. So Coach Prime had stated after the fact that this was the plan all along, that each of the guys were going to get 2 series. It doesn't make any sense to play football like that. So
the second game of the season.
Yeah. I mean, if there were a game, I guess, that you mess around a little bit to figure some stuff out, it could be game 2, but you only do that if you don't have a ton of faith in guy 1.
Right.
Hey, I struggle about why did you bring Caden Salter here to run an offense that he can't run?
Right.
The pro style quick game, he's a running threat with a really good arm. So why he's throwing the ball short, timing routes, quick decisions, really deciphering defenses, that wasn't his game. And then you have an offense that's not geared for him to use his legs. So that's a rough marriage. And Ryan Staub came in. So Julian Lewis got some run. Julian might have just turned 18, but he's a young kid. And so he looked like it.
Yeah.
I think you could see the poise in there for him, but he's just not ready yet. Ryan Staub, who is a redshirt sophomore. Why it's sophomore? That I don't know. If anyone in the chat can tell me why it's just not sophomore. But anyway, a kid that hung around the program, right? So you get redshirt and his redshirt freshman year last year. Shador's leaving. You think you got a shot to be the guy. All of a sudden, Juju Lewis signs. Caden Salter enters the portal and signs with CU. And in today's college football, 9 out of 9 times that kid is gone. And so the fact that Ryan Staub hung around, kudos to him. Like that to me is he likes the program. He feels confident in that and trusting himself to be able to take advantage when he got an opportunity. And he did. He came in 7 of 10 and led the team. And really like the first time since Shador was there, and probably even, since the last game against Oklahoma State, where there were just big plays to be had. Caden Salter it was every drive felt methodical, like when it doesn't really have to be, So the ability to come in, 7 completions for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. Coach Prime said, he's earned the opportunity to be the starter. He's the guy that can facilitate this offense the best. Is he the best quarterback? In the end, it doesn't matter. He can do what this offense needs. And I think with that, when now you have somebody that can distribute the ball, it's going to open up the run game a bit more. For Caden Salter, it was we're going to dare him to throw it, load the box, which then takes away a big threat of his legs. So really minimizes his impact. And again, Julian Lewis might be the answer for the program long-term, but they've only had 1 winning season in a while. And if you really want to continue the traction, you got to keep it moving. So I like what they landed on. The process in getting there. Not ideal. Not ideal. Anytime you have 3 quarterbacks, you have none. And so I know we're going to talk about some prospects, but I'm going to move this conversation up to CSU with just some similar stuff of Braden.
Take a victory lap.
Braden, like my man. What's his Braden Nikola Jokic, whatever his power, whatever. That dude ain't it, man. Really, since he went on tape talking crap about CU, he's been just not good. And to be honest, I don't know that they have a QB on that roster that is going to be that guy, which is really sad to see a little bit. Jay Norvell's he runs a really open passing attack, and so for them to not really have a guy that can distribute the ball, stand in there with some guts and some poise, and maybe Fowler Nikolowski shouldn't have beat my Bears whack call guy. He's a 3-star recruit. He's the top 100 quarterback in the nation. High school or Texas high school kid. So a guy with some sports pedigree, did have opportunities to go play somewhere else, and maybe he should have. Or maybe this was just an opportunity where they got kicked in the nuts a little bit, and it's able to turn around. It was a far cry from that game that they played in Washington. So if anyone wasn't sure, CSU played Division II or FCS Northern Colorado, who has not beat CSU since the early 1900s, and that's because CSU forfeited. So a win that was more than 100 years in the making. UNC led for 59 minutes and 15 seconds of that game, and then scored at the end, only to have it overturned. Which, whatever. I mean, we know that it was brutal, but a ton of that is their quarterback play was putrid. You're throwing picks to D2 schools. You're missing open receivers. 2 games in a pass-heavy offense, and you have a little over 300 yards, one touchdown, 2 picks. You're not getting the job done. And for this team to really take advantage of a lot of the returning players, a lot of the continuity, a veteran quarterback, and to be where they are, I feel for supporters of that program and for Colorado football fans in general. I want CSU to do well. I want CU to do well. I want Air Force to do well. Like, I want the region represented, and he's regressed significantly. And so, even over at Mile High Sports, really good article from a guy Mark Knudsen, just talking about how the end of the era, he came out hot and then really has been has just continued to kind of slide downhill. So maybe there's a bounce back. We all love a comeback story, but as the youth would say, it's not great, Bob.
Not great vibes.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what the pathway back is right now for this season. I just think that you got to hope that you got guys who can compete and grow on the fly, because that's about all they have right now, unfortunately. We're interested to see how they progress, but not necessarily over the moon with how CSU has gotten off to the start that CSU's gotten off to. That being said, it's early. We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll become a bowl eligible team at some point. But right now it's not looking too good. Do you want to jump into some of our guys that we've been kind of looking at this year through 2 weeks of the college football season? Anyone that you're excited about?
I mean, I'll give a little bit of love to CU. Khalil Benson. So guard, 6'6", 305. I think has really put himself into the kind of NFL draft cycle conversation. Him and Jordan Seaton have been, I think, really good over the first couple of games. Seaton, not a draftable prospect yet. But Khalil Benson is, and absolutely looks the part. And that's someone to keep an eye on. I hope for our folks. I think a transfer from Indiana, and so a guy that's getting some NFL coaching. And I think one thing at least you can be able to sell within this program structure is kind of NFL talent or NFL preparedness. That's why people come to see you now, is the coaching staff and being ready for the league.
Yeah,
but I like what I've seen from him so far. He's been phenomenal in the run game. Has given up minimal pressures, whether it was week 1 or week 2. Georgia Tech again was a good team. That game really was kind of a push 'em, and he held his own and then some in that game. And so, just giving some love to the local teams. I think Khalil Benson is someone to put on your radar, and as a team who will likely need an interior offensive lineman next year, or should continue to replenish. It's a local guy that Sean Payton is connected to with a strong relationship with Dion. So just putting that on the radar. Khalil Benson, offensive guard. See you.
I like it. I'm going to follow your offensive guide up with an interior offensive lineman myself.
Oh, okay.
By the name of Logan Jones. He is a guard out of Iowa. has ability to play all three interior positions, which is cool. Strong, man. He's a strong kid. He's a good run blocker. Went up against Dominique Orange this last weekend, who is
Syracuse. Yeah,
I think they call him. I think it's the Big Citrus, something like that.
Yep.
It's a great nickname. It's a great nickname. But dude is
he's
huge.
an NFL caliber prospect. Yep.
Yeah, a huge, big run stuffing dude, and held up pretty well this last game. He just looks athletic. He looks strong. He looks like a guy who will be playing on Sundays. He's someone that I wasn't aware of going into week one, or I wasn't, familiar with going into week one. Got to watch a little bit of that cut up, and he's looking really solid for them. In a sad, disappointing game for Iowa, had Iowa stayed on the ropes and weren't quite able to finish him off. But, good production from Logan Jones, someone that I think, has a chance to, like you said, interior offensive line. Any interior offensive linemen could end up finding their way to Denver, just based on the value and where they're drafted, especially if we think Denver is lined up for a really good season. So someone to put, on the back burner as a potential Broncos draft pick at some point.
Like it. I'm going to move a little bit. I'm going to go with Jack Endry, so tight end for Texas. Richard Jr., 6'4", 235, 236, give or take a pound. Just kidding. Transferred from Cal. So was recruited by CSU and Air Force, and then landed at Cal. Transferred over to Texas this season to fill the voids of Colorado's own Gunnar Helm, who moved on to the NFL and is now a Tennessee Titan.
Yeah, we saw him on Sunday.
But whatever. It's fine. I'm not hurt by it. Gunnar Helm, Jack Endrys was the leading receiver against Ohio State. Not a ton of yards, 50 yards, but in this last game against San Jose State, had some really big plays, a couple of touchdowns, or at one touchdown and then one big gain. So just a guy that has contributed or is contributing at a major program. And I think he's somebody, as the Broncos should continue to really stockpile that room with long-term options. I think he's a guy. I think he's a guy that they can look at is okay in the run game, but I wouldn't say that he's particularly stout in the run. So obviously, if you can get a little bit more lead in the pants, or sand in the pants, or lead in the whatever the butt gets bigger, so you hold up against there. I think that would be an aspect if they're looking for an all-around tight end. But if you're looking for somebody with good athleticism, ball skills, to kind of maybe be your Evan Ingram 2 when that contract expires or the time ends, I think he's someone to keep a profile on. I think being at Texas, he's going to get some eyeballs, so probably will get elevated in his stock. But I think someone that looks the part for sure.
Yeah, no, I like that. I got a running back, another running back on my radar. Not just my favorite running back right now. I've got another one. Jonah Coleman, running back out of Washington. He's had a really productive season. He hasn't played the most intense schedule yet. They played Colorado State week 1. He plays for Washington. Running back out of Washington. He played California Davis week 2. But on the season so far through 2 games, he's got 288 rushing yards, 46 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. Pretty good production, considering that's kind of what you expect from pro prospects playing smaller schools. Mm-hmm. He's averaging 7.5 yards a carry or an attempt. Just a guy that has really good balance, contact balance, a guy that has some long speed, someone who isn't afraid to run between tackles. He's 225 pounds, so he is durable. He is a guy that can lower the boom and put guys on the ground. And so he's someone that I will be keeping an eye on. I'll be interested to see, where he ends up being drafted. If he's more of I don't know if he's, I would guess he looks like a 4-down back, but I guess, we'll kind of see how the season progresses, how he plays against some of those bigger schools. Plays Ohio State week 4. I'd like to see how he runs against that defense, even though it's a tough defense. It's a pro level defense. So I'll be interested to see how he progresses. But someone, again, a position that the Broncos, especially if they have the season that we're anticipating, maybe wanting to draft. We like RJ Harvey. We like J.K. Dobbins. We don't have any guarantees on J.K. beyond this year. And health-wise, there's never any guarantees. So not bad to keep an eye on a running back prospect if you really like him. So, Jonah.
Yeah, I'll be excited for that Ohio State game, really, to see his receiving skills.
Yeah.
Sometimes for running backs, you might get graded at how you play against them, but you're not blocking for yourself.
Right.
And so I think that will be a really kind of important part of his evaluation. So I like that. He produced a ton last year. I think he had 1,500 yards last year. Yeah. So a guy that's not new to the scene, but maybe new to our viewing scene, since he wasn't in the draft pool last year. Mine, I'm going to get one more randomly. Jake Goldie, running back, linebacker for Cincinnati. So leading tackler in the country after the first two seasons or first two games. It's why I kind of got there. So 6'3" and some change, 240. Overall, so far has been a pretty phenomenal player. Last year was similarly impactful. But a guy I think that's really solid. Doesn't have elite speed. And I think that might be one thing that knocks him in the draft process. But what I saw really good in zone coverage, really, really understood passing concepts, and is a really good stout tackler against the run. And I think for today's defenses, I think you can't be a liability in coverage, but you also have to be really good against the run, because most of the times you're in nickel and it's going to be light boxes, and you got to be able to get through the traffic and make some plays. Right. So I really like what I saw from him. I think he fits kind of the athletic bill. We'll see what he runs. But a guy that has leadership traits, team captain last year, and I think this year. But overall, really intriguing player, and somebody I think might be there for in the mid rounds that has some developmental upside to be a long-term answer, as you're going to lose maybe Alex Singleton. Justin Strenad's only on a 1-year deal. Drew Sanders is hurt a lot, and then obviously Dre Greenlaw hasn't been healthy either. So continuing to look at keeping that room stocked with guys who have starting upside. Yeah.
No, I like that. I'm always looking for linebackers who can tackle. I mean, that's kind of important for the position.
I mean, it's you can't get away with that really anywhere because of how wide open the game is. But when your job is everywhere and there's only one or two of you on the field at a time, you got to be able to tackle going forward. You got to be able to play going backward. You got to be able to get sideline to sideline. Even if you are, the 2-down linebacker, we throw a lot in first down and second down. So there's no more where it's just 3 yards in a cloud of dust and then you throw on third down. You got to be able to handle your own and, with less beef up front as we've kind of seen defenses go lighter. So you're taking on more blockers than in yesteryear. And he's the guy that at least the brief cut up that I saw for the first two games this year, some that's not afraid of contact and disengages really well. So like what I saw, hopefully, some as we get into league play, some more challenging foes, but somebody I'm excited about.
Yeah. I'll have one more real quick. Probably not on the Broncos radar because he's a quarterback. But Taylor Green is a guy that I was aware of, but again, not super familiar with. Arkansas quarterback, transferred. He played last 2 seasons with Boise, I think, right? Is it Boise State?
I think so.
I think it's Boise State. Regardless. 6'6", 235 pounds, just an athlete. He is a real dual threat quarterback. I think you worry a little bit about his accuracy, ball placement, just consistency and kind of his mechanics. But his arm is super strong. It's something you can't really teach a quarterback. He can make pro level throws. He can throw the ball down the field. I think it's just going to come down to consistency with him, whether he ends up being an early pick, or a day 2 or 3 kind of flyer, just based on the pure athleticism, the pure traits. But a guy that I think is exciting. I mean, if you watch him play, man, if he takes off running, there's a good chance he's barreling forward and getting some yardage. He's got some speed. He's got some physicality to him. Like I said, 6'6", 235. He's not a statue by any means in the pocket. I'd like to see him rely on his arm a little bit more, but someone that from a traits perspective is exciting, has some upside, and probably some team will fall in love with at least the traits piece. We'll see if we can find some consistency. But it's week 2. He's got a lot of time to work on mechanics and footwork, and I'll be interested to see if he makes a jump.
Yeah, I mean he is a specimen. I think he was Mountain West freshman of the year. I think he started like halfway through his freshman season. Then I think was like their championship game MVP that year or the next year. So then we started till 2023. I don't know about what he did last year. I haven't heard his name in a bit. But yeah, absolutely a guy that looks like Tarzan. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We are going to jump into some Broncos talk. So thank you for hanging with us so far. We've got a few things to cover. So Doc, if you want to throw those up on the screen.
Do it. Maybe
not. I mean, I'll note one more dude, just because I don't know that he's really going to have any QB stock. But I saw a throw from quarterback AJ Swan out of Appalachian State that was just a complete bomb. And I was very impressed, at least by the arm strength and his ability to get that pass up. It was just a highlight, and it was in passing. But I was like, dang, that guy launched that down the field. I feel like he threw back across the field too. So it wasn't even like a standing, like powerful throw, just or like getting his base under him. It was just, throwing it out there and putting it out there in the perfect spot for his receiver. AJ Swan, keep an eye on him. Maybe he ends up on someone's draft board. We'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, and with the portals the way they are,
he was an LSU commit, and then he ended up transferring to App State. So obviously he's got some sort of collegiate arm talent that teams were seeing, but not the ideal route you want to go as a quarterback prospect, probably. But App State's not a terrible program.
No, I mean, that's Michigan, right?
Exactly. I thought about saying
don't have any of the graphics up, but I want to share with everyone. When we get to 529 subscribers on the Orange and Blue Network YouTube page, we're going to do a Bo Nix orange jersey giveaway. So make sure you like and subscribe and do all of those things, please and thank you. And that's something that we think is really important. With that, though, do you have your show lineup? Because I don't have the graphic for you, Mr.
Yeah. I can run them down real quick. We got Orange and Blue Blitz. I don't have the days though, unfortunately. I need to write those down. But I think this is the order throughout the week. I think Monday we got Orange and Blue Blitz with Isaiah Henderson. We've got Bronco Bros with Dak and George Montoya. Dak, if you're still here, let me know what time, because I think it's Tuesday show, but I don't have it marked down here. Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue with Johnny and Jay. We got Broncos Talk with Aiden Diaz and Bronco Libre. Viva Las Broncos on Fridays. I know that one's on Fridays with Adon and Bronco Libre. And then you have your game day shows. You got Get Bucked game day show with Isaiah, Bronco Gentleman, Henderson, and Johnny. And then you got Buck Your Feelings, which is the post-game show. So any day that there are games, we always have someone going and talking about them ahead of time and afterwards and giving you the full breakdown. So be sure to tune in for that. Jumping into Broncos talk.
Let's do it.
Our Denver Broncos got a hard-fought win on Sunday. Not exactly the game that we were expecting out of this team, especially against an opponent that we felt should be much weaker. 20-12 win. The defense held up. Bo Nix had some struggles. Where do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the defense. You know what? Let's start with Broncos defense dominated. 6 sacks. That's a lot. You know, that's a 72 sack season pace or something. I don't even know. It's a lot. No, it's like 100. What's math?
I don't know.
You got it. You'll do it. But only giving up 133 net yards. And I believe in the second half, Tennessee had -2 net yards because of penalties, etc.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's peewee football, flag football, 8-man football, high school, whatever, that to have any football team have negative yards in 30 minutes of action, it's pretty good. And you're playing against Calvin Ridley, who was a first-round pick, Tyler Lockett, who's been to a Pro Bowl. You got Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick, first-round pick scattered all across the offensive line. Okwonkwo is a really good, underrated tight end. I mean, they're pretty good pieces. Tony Pollard's a 1,000, 3 in a row, I think, 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, there's guys on that team that are good players. I mean, you had them scared to make plays. I mean, Calvin really got alligator arms, which in today's NFL too, where you're not really getting like shots like you would in yesteryear. You had Peter Soransi. I mean, like he like shrunk when he was about to meet Hufanga in the hole, and Hufanga was able to use that hesitation, just kind of slip through and blow up the run play. I mean, I think I retweeted it from our account. Hufanga was just an absolute missile, and I couldn't have loved it anymore. Like, it's exactly what I thought it was going to look like, and just the hair flowing with the orange and the night. Like, he just, it was great. It was good, man. You know, it was like, I was smoking a cigarette after. It was that good. And to think, though, you know, for as well as Justin Strnad played, which, you know what? Hats off to that guy.
Yeah.
From being kind of, he was the hope. Got benched unceremoniously, injured, right? All of the stuff to come back and being, you know, he's going to leave Denver next year and find somewhere to start, kind of a la Cody Barton. And good for him. And with that, he is not the second best linebacker on the team, right? When Dre Greenlaw comes back, him and Alex Singleton. I mean, you can imagine what it's going to be like when that guy gets out on the field. And so with the performance of Riley freaking Moss, just breaking up passes, not getting flags, just understanding timeliness and getting your head around him. There's a play where he's face up, chin up with the receiver, and is able to look backwards over his head so that he's playing the ball while getting his hand through. I mean, just, you know, that's stuff that we can't do walking and talking at the same time, let alone running with a helmet on with 80,000 people screaming and a ball there, right? And we still haven't brought up 2 All-Pros in the best defensive player in football, Pat Surtain, who gave up 0 catches and was lights out, and Nick Bonito, who's just like decimated. I mean, he got the right tackle benched. You know, got pulled from the game. You know, last year, top 10 pick, got yanked out of the game because Nick Bonito wore him out. Doesn't usually happen in the NFL where you get like, you're a top 10 pick and you get benched. And it's not like, I feel bad for him. It's not like he's going up against some scrub. He's going up against Nick Bonito, who just signed a contract. You know, like maybe cut him a little slack, coach. But how phenomenal is that? Just to be able to have that defense for this team to lean on. We had said it as much. I said, I hope that the game is a little bit more grinded out, because that means the Broncos stuck to their run game, which I want them to get better as the season goes on, and not waiting till mid-year to try and like figure out running the ball when you haven't done it for 8 weeks. And so I'm glad that they built up those calluses, and I thought it was possible in getting the win because of this team's defense. And you know, there's a lot to talk about when we talk about the offensive side of the ball. but it's nice to do that after a win. And I wasn't ever really worried that they were going to lose the game, and that's because the defense didn't give me a reason to think that way. I mean, there was no moment, to be honest with you, where I felt like Tennessee had figured something out, or, you know, there were some missed opportunities that they had for some plays. But even with that, they weren't touchdowns. You know, they were big chunks, so maybe a field goal or an opportunity. But, you know, you see the Broncos fumble in their own territory. Tennessee gets it, and with 2 plays, they're sacked out of field goal range. Tennessee has to punt. I mean, it was like that. And, you're taking advantage of Tennessee errors. Why they call those plays with a rookie quarterback who wants to make plays all over the place. I mean, you have to be okay with, like, yeah, guys, we're not going to win a lot, but we're going to let Cam do his thing. Because, I mean, he lost like 25 yards in 2 plays. But the defense was able – I mean, the defense got there, right? And they weren't going to give ground, and not only to stop them or keep them from scoring a touchdown, they didn't give up any points on that drive when it was handed to them. So – shout out to the defense. You know, I don't know that there was a guy that I'm concerned about right now on the defense. You know, if we had to pick kind of our stars and falls of that week on the defensive end, I mean, of course I could figure someone out, but no one off the top of my head that I was like, you know, I really could have saw them play better. I thought Jaquan played really well, which is nice to see him step up. I mean, it's time to play, boys. You got a 1st-round pick on your butt, and he did. You know, I thought Zach Allen was okay, but that's for Zach Allen standards. I thought he made plays when he needed to. I think he got a sack. Jones jumped on a fumble, be the right place, right time, head up. Jonathan Cooper with that sack on the goal line. You know, like, everyone had a moment, and that's really what you want to be able to see from your starting defense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I mean, it was nice to see Hufanga out there. It's nice to see his presence. You know, you're getting a feel for how active he's going to be on the defense. You know, just around the ball all the time. You know, it seems like he's got a nose for the ball. He always knows where to be. He never seems to be too out of position. He can be a little bit aggressive sometimes, but I think that's how you want him to play. You know, he is that style of safety that you want him downhill as much as you can, especially against some really talented skill players that the Titans had. So I enjoyed seeing him. Like you said, Riley Moss had a lot of pressure coming into the year to kind of hold up, like, hey, is this going to be our CB2? And through one game, he looks like CB2. And I think that's what we obviously need to see more. But like you said, that pass breakup on the left-hand side there, it's like you said, it's not something you can teach. It's something that he's got to go out there and use his athletic ability and have awareness to not, get a PI in that situation. There's a lot of hand fighting, but it wasn't gratuitous by either guy, and they let it go, and it ended up being just a great play. I think that we'll see some of these guys kind of come up even another level. I think Singleton was a guy who was good, not great. He's someone that I think, obviously coming off of major injury, it may take him a little bit of time to kind of get his feel back for the game, but I think that's coming soon. I'd like to see a little more pressure from the defensive line, just kind of in general. I think that they did it, like you said, an okay job. Zach Allen did get the sack. Didn't really hear JFM's name very much. Jones did a good job. In the running game, they did a nice job. I'll give them that. But I just think when it comes to pressuring the quarterback, I think they could have used a little bit more. And this is all, we're putting them under a microscope. This was a really good defensive outing. It's not like anyone didn't show up and do their job.
Yep.
I will be interested to see how Uwazurike kind of fills in. I think missing Roach it's hurtful for me because he's just a good player, and he's a guy who can get penetration from the D tackle spot. So he's one guy
he might be the Broncos' best run defender. I mean, his ability to really to anchor at the nose, I thought, was missed. Kind of answering your question, Shai. I think I agree with you. Alex, you could tell, there's rust. He hasn't played meaningful football in a year. And you could tell. So I think that absolutely is one. I do think that there were some plays that were left open that could have changed the complexity of that game. Maybe if it was another team or what have you, but I think they weren't flawless in this outing. I think we saw a few throws up the seam that would have been really big chunk plays that at least would have gave Tennessee opportunities for more points. Is it 8 more points? I don't know, but really good teams aren't going to miss those. Justin Herbert's not going to miss those, and some things like that. So I think that's some stuff that they got to clean up. But again, you want to do that when you win one, than when you lose one.
Yep, for sure. Let's switch over to the other side of the ball and talk about the offense a little bit. Obviously, was not the best game offensively from Bo Nix and company. I do like that they did emphasize running the ball and that they I think Dobbins ended up getting the majority of the carries. RJ Harvey looked good when he was in there. I'm not sure why his carries were a little more limited. I would have liked to see him get a few more just because he was productive when he was in there. He ended up with 6 carries, 70 yards, as opposed to JK, who was 16 carries, 63 yards. Maybe that's something just because he didn't play in the preseason. They wanted to get him additional reps in the first game just to kind of get him up to speed. I think it's a possibility that we see that even out a little bit more in the upcoming matchups. But I like that they stuck with it. I like that they stuck with the running game. It was something that we have talked a lot about in the offseason. It's something they're going to have to establish at some point. I think for the most part, it was a bit of a struggle. I think I don't know that the O-line did a fantastic job run blocking. I feel like there were a lot of times where there were just no running lanes to be found from our backs. But we're talking about a defensive line that actually is pretty good for Tennessee. So I have mixed feelings on it. It's the first game of the season. There's definitely room for improvement in the running game and the pass protection game. But overall, you come away with a win, and I think you got to be okay with that. The real issue is the turnovers. They've got to secure the ball. They've got to be smart with the ball. They can't, that I don't remember. I think it was the first interception that Bo threw ended up being kind of that jump ball on the left-hand side. Great play by the corner, but it's late. You get it there sooner. Watched a little bit of QB breakdown. There were some late seam, if his eyes are in their place or if he's able to look off a safety, that goes from a incompletion to a touchdown. So those are things they're going to go over in the film room. I think that there's a lot of pressure on Bo. I think that there's a lot of pressure on this offense in general. There's no standout skill position player per se. I think Cortland is your guy. He's a workhorse, but I don't know that a lot of teams see him as like a typical wide receiver one. So there's a lot of pressure on that group to kind of create more explosive plays, and I think that's something that was missing still. I think that's something we're looking for. The Broncos will be looking for this season is, who is going to bring explosivity to that offense from the skill position. So far, we're still missing that a little bit.
Yeah, and Evan Ingram going out, suffered a calf injury and went out early. Changed some of the dynamic. Troy Franklin, I thought, looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And his opportunities, 4 catches on 6 targets. Again, Marvin Mims at 3 receptions and 4 targets for 12 yards. So not really utilizing him in the best dynamic. But there were plays to be had. What was really nice, though, is in the run game. You had a 19-yard run for a touchdown by JK, 50-yard run from Harvey to kind of set up that score. Which the team just didn't have that before. And so
100%.
Only giving up 1 sack to a really good defensive front. We talked about it last week. kind of previewing the game. I mean, that's a grown man front. And
I would say though the pass protection. I think the defensive line did a good job of being disruptive, even if they were generating sacks. There was a lot of pressure.
I agree.
A lot of QB pressure.
I agree that there was some pressure, but I also saw some good communication in the run game
for sure.
Thought JK picked up. I thought Bidet picked up the blitz well. I think Bo's just got to be better. I think Bo pressed. I think he, I said this kind of throughout the week, was just I think him and Sean Payton were trying to win an MVP in week 1. And I think that happens, especially with the young player. You want to go out and prove the hype is real. And that was my worry a little bit. And that's why I said, I would hope actually if he has some pretty pedestrian numbers, that means the Broncos ran the ball real well and the defense played well and they won. I would have liked better numbers than that. I think what's a good part is I think this will be the worst game that he's going to play this year.
Yeah. Do you think that, for me, it felt like they were a little slow getting in and out of the huddle. Do you think that? Yep. Do you think that?
Yeah, I think with the move, especially to some of the zone blocking scheme, I think it adds a bunch of language because of the blocking assignments, things you got to tag. They also had checks in there, and I think Sean Payton talked about taking some of the checks out or check run to run. And I think that will hopefully let them get in. You could see Bo's frustration, some yelling. So I think that there were still some communication issues when I think you have that, you're not regulated, right? When you go into the play, if you're like hurrying 10 seconds to go get on the ball, get everyone set, get the ball snapped, it's really hard to be able to do some pre-snap read and adjustment, which you saw from Bo last year, right? First 4 games, drinking through a fire hose, and then the game starts to get manageable for him. The play calls get easier, understanding what's been asked of you. And then, the last half of the season, he's top 10 quarterback numbers in the league. And so you assume that's probably going to be a little bit more like week, what you'll see. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't take 4 games. Right. Hopefully they go into the room and talk about what's working and what's not. Because, if the offense plays like that this weekend, they won't win. That's for sure.
Yeah. To me, it feels a little bit like, I know that Bo knows the playbook, right? And I know that he knows how the plays are designed and why they're designed.
I know that you know that I know that you know the playbook.
That you know that I know. But it feels almost like he's so familiar with the play that he's expecting it to go perfectly every time, and then maybe his ability to progress through reads is a little bit slower because he's looking for the best. I mean, obviously you're making your first read, second read, third read, that sort of thing. But it felt like he was slow getting off that first read for whatever reason. I'm wondering if that will be changed.
Yeah, what worries for me sometimes actually is he moves off of his reads too fast. At the beginning of the year last year, he was trying to process too fast and not letting the play develop. Yeah. I think also he didn't use his mobility to his advantage, right? So they had some designed rollouts, but I don't think he scrambled really well to throw the ball. I don't think that he ran with conviction, or a couple runs where he's kind of going at like a bad angle. So he's running real hard, but he's not gaining any yards, and then kind of like stumbles to a slide. But it was just things like that just weren't decisive.
I think that's a good word. Looked decisive. Yeah. Like there wasn't a lot.
I don't think he was sure. I think that there was a lack of trust. I mean, you saw him. I'm trying to remember who the receiver was. I'd have been Mims, right? They didn't sit in the right spot.
Oh, it was Kroll. It was Lucas Kroll.
Kroll, yeah, and just things like that. And I think that there's some, and especially he's a pretty intense cat, and so I think some of those things will rear their head too when now it's your show, right? I mean, last year he's kind of a part of the team. He was one of the guys. He's the dude, and that's all right to take that mantle. And I think he was expecting things to be where maybe they were supposed to be, and not really adjusting when they weren't. Right. Not kind of throwing guys open or whatever that might be. So I think that will get better. It will. More reps, more seasoning. Guys will get on the same page, or they won't play. It's just how the NFL works. F your feelings kind of league. So, yeah, I do think that there was some of that. I think let's utilize that maybe to transition into the next matchup. So we got Danny Dimes in the 1-0 Colts, biggest win in week 1 in the NFL. Who would have thunked it?
He was diming them up too.
I mean, I think the only time anyone's ever led their team on go 7 for 7 in scoring drives in NFL history. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Who'd have thought? I still wouldn't have thought. I still actually don't believe it was real
for sure.
But whatever. But let's stay with offense a little bit. Just going to use PFF in to kind of show a little bit of kind of what we're going against over here. So on their defense, I think I really like the additions. Cameron Bynum, safety. Went to Cal, was in Minnesota last year. Might know him from him and Mateus were the dancing duo. Came over, played really well, especially in week 1. You can see with a lot of the PFF grades, the darker the green, the better the game. That is Xavier Howard. He's still alive playing football. Who wouldn't think?
Yep.
And Shtavius Ward, and then Kenny Moore, who really seasoned group. So I think it's going to be a little harder to feel confident about the pass game now, this game. But to be honest, Miami looked awful. And
they looked really
Tua
bad.
was, Tua was throwing up some soft serves. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of did the Colts play so good to make Miami look that bad, or is Miami that bad that made Indy look that good? We'll see.
Well, it's funny too because they only had 3 sacks against Tua. You'd think that with that score that he was running for his life, but I think and I think there was a good bit of pressure, but I just think that there's just so many issues with that Miami team right now that it's definitely contributed to the margin of victory.
Yep, 100%, and how it looked too. I think they didn't. Looks like McDaniel's like checking out. Like it's a mess, man. Terry Kill is over there throwing fits. I mean, it's just not good football. So we got to take it for what it's worth. But you play who's in front of you, and Indy dominated. So it wasn't like they upset. It was a squeaky game that they got through. No, it was all of an ass whooping. Shout out to Zach Wilson though, coming in. Looking much better, 5'8", looked like a competent NFL quarterback. Hopefully he gets some run. I think he deserves it. And so Eberflus, no, not Eberflus. Coach Lou from Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
Dang it. I'm gonna have to forgot his last name. Something with an A. And
out of room.
Anyway, I don't know. Whatever it is. But they came on a lot of secondary blitzes. So Nick Cross had a sack and Kenny Moore had a sack. I'm pretty sure. So corners had 2 of the 3 sacks, and then Ebukam had the other sack. So pretty good pass rusher, but not up front that gets a ton of pressure. So I think that the Broncos offensive line should be able to hold out. Latu got a pick. Looks really athletic doing it. Kind of look mama what I found, but can't buy him. It broke out a ball, made a really good play. So good team defense, but I think it's one of those where they had good grades in one game. I don't look at this as a really scary matchup. I think that they got to go play. They're going to be better coached. I think Shane Steichen now has a quarterback who he can trust to run some things. Isn't that crazy to say about Daniel Jones? But the man was 22 of 29 for 272 and a touchdown. 87.5 QBR, 115.9 passer rating. So any way that you diced it, Danny played real well. Had 7 rushes for 26 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't think he'll run like that on the Broncos defense, just because the Broncos defense is legit. But they ran for 156 yards. I mean, if you've heard this before, 2 touchdowns, similar to kind of what the Broncos put out on offense. So a team that I think will give us something to handle. I think a key on defense is going to be pressure. Davis Webb is a friend of Daniel Jones, I think. So I don't know how much dirt you give on your friend when you're a coach on the other staff.
Right.
Hopefully, and I don't know how much Vance needs, coached in the NFC for a while. I think he kind of knows. And I think the book's out on Daniel Jones. I really like Michael Pittman, 1, because he's on my fantasy teams. 2, he's just a good, big professional receiver. And then Tyler Warren was everything that I thought he was going to be in week 1. As you can see, PFF has him as the number 1 rated tight end.
Wow.
Just saying. I mean, I was Tyler Warren till it's not.
That's true.
That was my guy. And so, and you think their offensive line, the well-paid, early drafted folks up there in Indy. And again, Miami just looked terrible. They look terrible. I don't even know who's coaching them over there. Do you? Bradley Chubb got a sack, which is kind of nice to see. They just didn't really play well. Only 4 tackles for losses in the game.
Yeah.
Just let Indy was just ahead of the sticks the whole time. And it's pretty hard to stay engaged in a game when your quarterback's throwing the ball to a team as much as they are. So, this will be a much different matchup than Indy got in the last game. This one, though, I think they have a little bit more capability to make you pay, but kind of similar in the sense of a pretty good offensive line. Quentin Nelson, man-child, for sure. And then Jonathan Taylor, who is former rushing champ, obviously the real deal. If he doesn't fumble at the goal line last year when they're here, who knows how the Broncos season itself goes. So I bet he'll want some redemption. So offensively, I think that there's some things there. You like Josh Downs. I think he's a good player too. And then, I don't know. Pierce is, I don't know.
I like Pierce too, actually. He just always seems to have one big catch a game.
He had a 36-yard catch this last game. 1 catch for 36 yards.
One deep ball that he always comes down with that you're not expecting him to come down with, and it always puts his team in scoring position. I think he's a little underrated. I think he's a good route runner, but he only had 1 catch this week, so obviously he's not shaking free all the time. But I do like this offense. For the Colts, especially with Danny Dimes, a little more consistency at the helm, which is a funny thing to say, given his career thus far. But I think he does bring some consistency to him, at least some leadership, some veteran presence. Jonathan Taylor is another year older. He's a guy that they've really got to key in on. You've got to be able to minimize his impact on the day. So our defensive front's going to have their hands full with that. I think it's something that they can do. And then, they have good receivers. And so this is your chance, this is Vance's chance to kind of bust out all of your personnel packages, right? You have, we get to see, all of our rookie out there. Let's see how Riley holds up on the outside still. We'll see what happens. But I think that you've got to be careful with this defense, especially Warren is a guy that you can be a real X factor, I think, for this team. Yep. Once you feel like you've got everyone bottled up, he can run the ball. He obviously can catch the ball, and he's a good blocker. And so he's going to impact all aspects of the game. So it is going to be a tricky matchup, I think, especially given the kind of slow out the gate start that the Broncos had. I think that if you're the Broncos, you got to continue to pound the rock, run the ball. I think that the weakness of that defense is kind of up the middle. And I think if you can run between the tackles and be productive doing so, keep those guys off the field a little bit, control the pace of the game, the Broncos should have a good chance. Let's get some predictions. Got any prediction for how this game's going to shake out?
Yeah, I think that Bo's going to bounce back. I think I feel really good about this game. I was actually more worried about this game before week 1 than I wasn't, just because it's kind of a trap game a little bit, right? The high of it. Then you kind of got a division game coming out the gate following it, and then a Monday night game. So it's just, I think you got a lot going on, and it's pretty easy, I think, to look over this team. I think struggling as much as you did in week 1, hopefully grounded them. So, we haven't won anything yet, boys. Let's lock in, do the little stuff. And so I think it's a game where I think the defense will shine again. I think that they'll have a couple turnovers. I think that they'll have quite a few sacks. So not 6, but I'd say 4.
Yeah.
A fumble and a pick. Danny will fumble. I think it'll be a tough game, but I think that they'll win. I'm going to go 24-20. And start the season 2-0 for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I like it. I think this. Oh man, I don't know how to assess. Our defense is so good, but I think that they will put some points up. I think they're obviously a stronger defensive team or offensive team than defensive team. The Colts, I mean. I'm gonna go. I think that Bo will be more productive. I think he'll be more sure with the ball in his hand. I think he'll make better decisions. I'm going to go 24-21. I think it's going to be a tight game. It's all going to depend on the defense and whether they can get takeaways, whether they can, impact the game, make third down long, win on first down. I think that they have the potential to do that. And also, I think it's going to come down to the run game. Are you able to run the ball? Are you able to kind of, dictate the pace of the game? And I think that is a possibility given that front. And I think that's where I would attack if I were them. So I'm going to say a win for the Broncos. Not as confident as I would have been going into the season necessarily, just given what they put on the field on Sunday. But I still have faith that this is a good roster and good personnel that can get the job done.
All right. Well, you heard it. Hopefully when we come back next week, we all are still sipping the Kool-Aid.
For sure. I think we will be. Yeah. Even if we lose, I think we will be. So, it's a good roster. It's a good coaching staff. I think we've got some young pieces that we know need some development. And so there are going to be painful moments, but I think that
all I have to say, though, is if they go get this win, there's a real possibility that the Chiefs start 0-2.
That's true.
As they play Philly. I think they're on the road to play Philly. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. But a very real likelihood that Kansas City's 0-2 and the Broncos are 2-0. Potentially that the Raiders and Broncos are 2-0.
Yeah.
But just saying, go handle business and put some pressure on those Chiefs to play a little catch-up, flip the tide a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, everyone, for being with us today. We got to run, but we appreciate you as always. Make sure to check out the other shows on the network, and you know where to find us next week, same time. We appreciate you. Be kind to one another. Be safe out there. And if you need a sports prescription, ask a doctor.
I'll help you out for sure.
From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. So grab your crew, let's hit the show. My high sports symposium, let the good times flow.